And we're back on Second Street talking about cell phones and social media and how that affects our kids. We're chatting with Paige McPherson from the Fraser Institute and Jonah Davids from the Macdonald Laurier Institute. Um, Paige, I just want to ask you, before the break, Jonah was talking about how some classroom teachers have integrated cell phones into their learning plans so kids would use them as they're studying particular topics. I think it's fair to say there's some positive elements of cell phones, but I wonder if the negatives are just too much that should not be allowed and sort of like what is your take? Let's say you're the magical minister of education for all of Canada. What do you think the best cell phone policy looks like when it comes to our education system?
Well, I think a lot of the arguments for the use of cell phones in the classroom are sort of a broader argument for the use of technology in the classroom. And actually, some of those
Mhm.
policies, if we're just talking, more broad based in terms of ed tech, educational tech in classrooms, um, there's some of it is it's just there for the sake of being there. There's not really a good reason behind having it there. It's not really thoughtfully introduced curricula around the use of technology. There's a lot of arguments to be made that of course we're moving into a much more technology driven world, and kids need to be equipped in schools but with the skills they'll need for navigating that world and the future workforce. But the problem is that we've also seen a decline in things in our curricula like core knowledge, right? Just learning sort of the basics, learning the building blocks that you need for critical thinking and understanding of things. So a more thoughtful integration of that would make sense. When it comes to cell phones
Mhm.
in particular, they're really distracting. And this is the problem with even laptops. The kids are, it's very commonplace now to have a laptop. It became that way really during school closures as a result of COVID. Kids got laptops.
Mhm.
They kind of never went away. And they're beginning in elementary school and they're very distracting. Like kids find ways around it because it's a very digitally literate generation that are using these. They can find workarounds and they get distracted by these things. They're not just focusing on the tasks at hand when they're in school and using these devices. So my own view is, I think Jonathan Haidt has it right, where you have the cell phones locked away where kids cannot see them for every kid, other than real exceptions where, like a diabetic child might need to check their blood sugar or using an app throughout the day or something like that. And that is just,
Mhm.
I think, the cleanest way to have a distraction free learning day for kids, because that's what schools are about, right? They need to be about learning.
Let me just clarify that with you. When you say locked away, that means if the kid brings it to school, gets locked in like the principal's office or locked in a locker, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so anybody who's been to like a comedy show or a concert that is going to be on Netflix or something like that, you might have had your phone
Right.
sealed in a Yonder pouch for the duration of the concert and have it turned off so you can't access it without a special key to unlock it. Something like that, or a locker in each classroom, or they keep them in their lockers, whatever it is. As long as it's as
Mhm.
Jonah said, there's problems with enforcement. So as long as the rules are clear, everybody has to follow them, other than real exceptions. That makes it, I think, easier for teachers in the classroom to then not be spending time nagging or monitoring or having these battles with kids as well.
All right, Jonah, let's pretend that Minister of Education Paige McPherson knocks on your door and she wants your vote, and you start talking with her about those policy idea that she's just put forward. Is she on the right track, or would you tweak anything?
I think she's on the right track. The only thing I would say is, um, I think there can maybe be a role for local variation. Different schools or different districts might have a different approach to it. So, and also there could be some schools where, say, like the violence there is so bad or something that you actually want your kid to have a cell phone because what if someone's kid is getting beaten up? You want to be able to record that as evidence. Like there are those there are
Mhm.
those kinds of cases. But overall, I think there should be definitely be a requirement to have some kind of policy on it. I like Page's policy, put that as the model policy, and then let school districts kind of tinker with that to get to the best place for
Mhm.
them.
Okay, and is Paige? I'll come back to you. Is there any school in Canada that currently has that type of a policy?
Yeah, there are several independent schools that sort of led on this before the provincial restrictions were brought in, where they were experimenting. There's an independent school in Halifax where I live that has the Yonder pouches as an example. There's another, actually a public middle school, a government school that has experimented with a similar policy as well. So there were some schools that have done it and found great success doing it, but of course the government was just a little bit slower to catch up. But I think we're moving in the right direction. But consistency is needed, I think.